Hi boys and girls, this is Mrs. Kimball giving you guys a great big wave. Welcome. Today we're going to talk about a bird in the shorebird family, and this bird's called the killdeer. Now killdeer seems like a pretty unusual name for a small bird, and we're going to talk a little bit about how he got that name. It kind of makes you think, killdeer. By the end of this presentation, we will figure out exactly how the killdeer got its name. So let's go ahead and take a look at those 5 boxes at the top of the page. Those are the ones where we see the general characteristics of shorebirds, and then the article is going to give us some specific characteristics about the killdeer itself. All right, so the first one we see is a silhouette. And remember, boys and girls, silhouettes are always black and white. So in this particular silhouette, we're looking at a long, thin beak and long, thin legs. So by looking at this, we have no colors to help us determine exactly who we're looking at. It could be a sandpiper, it could be a killdeer. But the more important piece is that we know it's a member of the shorebird family. All right, we know that all shorebirds have a probing beak. And that's the type of beak that they can stick into mud, soft sand, that wet sand on the beach, and they're looking for either small crustaceans or some type of an insect. All right, move along. They also have long, thin toes. They've got those 3 long, thin toes in the front, and they either have a short or non-existent hind toe behind. Number 4, we see that they are ground nesters, which means they build their nest on the ground. I'm not sure we're going to use the word build for the killdeer, but we will talk about the nest. And specifically to the killdeer in this case, they are active both during the day and night. Plovers are wading birds that are built more compactly than other sandpipers with shorter, thicker necks. Their eyes are noticeably larger and their bills are shorter. When plovers move, they run in short bursts, then stop and freeze in place, and then run again. You rarely see a plover walking calmly like other waders. They eat some plant matter, but mostly insects and crustaceans, especially marine crustaceans if they are a species that lives near the coast. Let's go ahead and zoom in on the killdeer. He's a beautiful bird. He's brown and black and white, so some basic colors. We do notice that he's got a beautiful red ring around its eye. And then let's go ahead and look at that killdeer chick. He looks quite adorable. If you notice his coloring, it's very similar to an adult. So they begin getting that in adult coloring quite young. He doesn't have that red ring around his eye, but that will come soon enough. Normally we associate plovers with the beach, but our most common plover, the killdeer, is most often seen in mowed lawns, open parks, golf courses, and even parking lots. Killdeers are a lovely fawn color on top with a creamy underside, 2 black rings circling their neck, and a red eye ring. Their call is a high-pitched, urgent killdeer, 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 which can be heard during the day, while they are on the ground or flying, or even at night. They are slender, lanky birds with long, pointed wings and tail. When they burst into flight, an orange rump patch can clearly be seen. So let's take a look at that picture on the right. That is the killdeer in his basic colors. So we're seeing that beautiful brown on top where his wings are, where his tail is. We're seeing those 2 black stripes that are going around his neck. We see that red ring around his eyes, and we have a circle showing those long toes down the bottom and that very tiny hind foot in this case. All right, and we will go over to the second picture, and there is that rust-colored rump that we were talking about. Rust is an orangey type of color, an orange-brown mixture, and you can see when he fans out those tail feathers how beautiful he looks. So we go from a very basic black, white, brown bird to a beautiful orange-colored bird. Up the top, you're going to see that there's a quote. It says, "He's feigning a broken wing." Boys and girls, we're going to learn in the next paragraph that feigning means faking. He is pretending to have a broken wing. So if you're looking at that picture and thought perhaps he was injured, he is not. All right, so beautiful orange colors. The killdeer doesn't really build a nest. It is more like a shallow depression scratched into bare ground. About 4 well-camouflaged speckled eggs are laid directly on the ground. Sometimes the killdeer will place rocks, shells, or sticks near the eggs, but the only real protection the eggs have are the adult killdeer. When the nest is threatened, killdeers will go through an elaborate display to draw the intruder's attention away from their nest. It's called feigning or faking and involves one of the adults making a verbal racket while dragging a broken wing along the ground. Once the intruder moves toward the injured adult, the bird quickly and safely takes flight. The chicks are precocial and can follow the adults to a slightly more protected area, often a marsh or stream, as soon as their feathers dry. Killdeer eggs are perfectly camouflaged to sit unnoticed on the ground nests. All right, so let's talk about that paragraph for a moment. The killdeer does not build a nest. We know that other birds gather sticks, they gather grass, they gather perhaps feathers from their chest. They'll kind of pluck their own feathers, and they will build this beautiful nest. They're going to make it warm, soft, inviting, so when they lay their eggs, that's where they're going to go. Not the case with the killdeer. The killdeer takes those sharp talons, scratches on the bare ground, and lays their eggs, literally lays their eggs right on the ground. Now, after they've laid these eggs, they're apt to put some more stones around them. They could gather some sticks or some grass and maybe sprinkle it on top of them. But it's something that they do after, not before. And then this idea of doing an elaborate display to draw an intruder away is pretty fascinating. What happens with the killdeer is they are able to pretend they have a broken wing. So the adult starts squawking very loudly. That's the first thing they do, and that draws the predator's head to them. And then they start pretending they have a broken wing. Predators would prefer to go after an injured bird than to go after a healthy bird. So the predator now is watching this injured bird, kind of timing when it's going to attack, but watching very, very closely. The idea for the killdeer is that they're going to draw that predator away from their chicks. So as the predator starts moving towards the adult, right when he's ready to pounce, the adult flies off. And the hope is that the predator will forget that there was a nest that had chicks in it. And lastly, the chicks are born precocial. And if you remember from earlier articles, precocial means that they are born covered in downy feathers, their eyes are wide open, and they're ready to take on the world almost immediately. All right, let's zoom in on a couple of those ground nests. So there's some scratchings. That looks like it's a pretty hard ground right there. Lots of gravel around some dried grass. That looks like it could be an abandoned field. It could be a spot in a parking lot. Anyway, it looks like they scratched those sharp talons and laid 4 eggs right there. Despite the fact that there isn't a nest and it's not hidden, they are semi-camouflaged, which is impressive in its own way. All right, and let's take a look at this one. It takes a second to see where the eggs are. They look a lot like the different stones that are around there. But again, the sharp talons of the killdeer were used to scratch, and this one looks like it's a little more of a depression, so they scratched more of that and laid those eggs. I would guess, by the way that those tail feathers are all spread apart, that perhaps there's an intruder close by. And once again, take note of that beautiful orange coloring on the killdeer. All right, and the Academy Award goes to boys and girls. If you're a movie fan, if you're a sports fan, whatever you like to watch, oftentimes they give out awards for people that do the best job in certain areas. So when I say the Academy Award goes to, I think it goes to the killdeer for doing the best job at faking a broken wing. Let's go ahead and zoom in on some of those pictures. Look at that. Definitely looks like he has a broken wing. I know myself, if I saw a bird that looked like that, I would think that bird was injured. There we go again. Maybe not quite so dramatic, but definitely looks like the killdeer cannot get up and fly in that picture. And in this one, it definitely looks like that poor wing is hanging right off. Goodness gracious. This one right here, this looks, by the gravel that I see, I'm thinking this could be, in an industrial park, a driveway of some sort. And I can honestly tell you that if I saw that bird on the ground, I would be sure that bird was injured. So clearly doing a beautiful job. And one last picture. And a broken wing. This time that broken wing looks like it's up in the air. So as you can see, killdeer have their own way of showing that they have a broken wing. But I do have a caveat for you, kind of a warning for you. If you ever see this behavior, it probably means you have walked too close to a killdeer's nest. And I say that very simply because of this. If you are out walking by yourself, if you're walking with your friends, you're walking with your family, and you see a bird pretending to have a broken wing, I want you to freeze in place. I want you to have everybody around you freeze in place. And then with your eyes, I want you to look around and see if you can find a nest. Remember, there's going to be some camouflage involved, so it may be difficult. But I want you to do your best to try and find a nest because you are most likely very close to a killdeer nest. All right, fun fact. Birds build a nest and fill it with soft grasses and feathers before laying their eggs. Killdeer, on the other hand, lay their eggs on the ground and then put grasses on the nest. It is most likely a camouflage technique. And that would be my guess. I would say they're probably camouflaging after they lay the eggs rather than finding a secure, hidden place to build a nest in the first place. So let's go ahead and zoom in on that picture. That looks like a mother killdeer with her little chicks. How many chicks do you guys see? I see 3, and I think they're absolutely adorable. And look at that, they're already starting to get those black rings around their neck. When I look at those, it almost looks as though someone took a magic marker and drew those rings on the killdeer. All right, killdeers are sharply marked with 2 black rings around a creamy white throat and belly and bright red eye rings. There you go. So let's take a look at Mr. Killdeer one more time. There are those beautiful black rings around his neck, that creamy white body underneath, and those brown feathers on top. So a very basic looking bird. All right, let's zoom in on this picture. Boys and girls, let's zoom in very close for a moment. Look at that red eye ring. Isn't that interesting? It reminds me a little bit of the red on a rooster. I can't say for sure. I'm not sure what it's made out of, but very fascinating. And then take a look at that probing beak. I think this is a great picture of that probing beak. All right, the killdeer has a probing beak. It's long and thin, but does not have serrated edges like that of the waterfowl. And remember, serrated edges are like a knife. When you're looking at maybe a dull knife and you see those rough edges, that's a serrated edge. They are omnivores, consuming a wide variety of insects, including beetles, grasshoppers, flies, caterpillars, grubs, and mosquitoes. Other invertebrates, including ticks, spiders, snails, and earthworms, and many types of berries and plant seeds. So he is an omnivore, and we talked about birds that are omnivores. We talked about how much more likely they are to survive in any type of scenario. And we brought this up when we were talking about becoming threatened, endangered, and extinct. Omnivores, because they have such a flexible diet and can eat both meat and plants, have a much better chance of surviving were anything to change within their habitat. All right, so that's a nice positive for the killdeer. Sometimes I wish I was taller. Did you ever wish you were taller? Have you ever stood on your tiptoes trying to make someone think you are bigger than you really are? Let's go ahead and zoom into that picture for a moment, boys and girls. So if I'm looking at that picture, it looks like 2 little boys are playing, one standing on top of the other. Maybe they put Dad's coat on, and they're trying to look like a grown-up man. I know myself, I have stood on my tiptoes to try and look bigger, and in fact, as you boys and girls know, I'm just a little bit over 5 feet. So there are even times when I'm talking to people here at school that I might stand on my tiptoes for a second, trying to maybe look someone in the eye. So if we look very closely at this picture of these 2 killdeer, we actually see one standing on top of the other. And this is happening because the killdeer is trying to look like a bigger bird. So when predators are around, and they want to kind of distract them. And in this case, they're not going after their chicks, they're looking right at these birds. Another strategy besides feigning a broken wing is for one to stand on top of the other. They believe they're giving the illusion to the predator that they are actually a much bigger bird. You may be hearing about the killdeer for the first time, so I'll let you in on a little secret. The killdeer does not perch on tree branches, road signs, street signs, etc. It can't. The killdeer does not have the ability to grasp a narrow perch for stability because it does not have a back toe. The killdeer can perch on a broader surface, though, such as a rock. So that is a very interesting thing that we just learned about the killdeer. Because he doesn't have that the back toe, he isn't able to grab a branch and perch on it, stand on it. I want you to kind of think to yourself, pretend you're a killdeer for a moment, and you've got those 3 long toes on the front of your hands, and you're going to grab a stick. Now, you can't use your thumb, which would be like a hind toe, to hold on to that stick. It's a little more difficult, especially if there was a lot of weight above you. You would probably fall backward because you have nothing to brace yourself. So that hind toe almost works like a thumb, and so in the case of the killdeer, they're not able to perch on a tree branch or anything narrow. So we see birds that perch on top of a street sign or a road sign or maybe a boat sign in the water, and that is something the killdeer cannot do. So boys and girls, I took a moment to show you something because I think that this position that the killdeer is in looks very awkward, and I want to talk about it with you. So let's go ahead and look at number 1. Number 1 is referring to those 3 lines that I drew. Those 3 lines, boys and girls, are the killdeer's toes. All right, so those are those long, thin toes. If we go to number 2, we see a yellow line. That yellow line, boys and girls, is his foot. I know that seems surprising because when they stand up, we often think it's their leg. It is not. That is his foot. And then if you go to number 3, that blue kind of hook, that's showing you right where the ankle bone is. And number 4, that white line, that is showing you where the shin is. And if you're not sure where the shin is that bone right below our knee. We can't see the knee and we can't see the upper leg. Both of those are tucked under the feathers. So in reality, because number 2, that yellow line is his foot, this killdeer is actually standing on his feet. He's standing on his feet, standing on the back of another killdeer, and he's perched quite steadily there. He's probably not going to fall off. That being said, most birds, when you think about it and they're standing, are actually standing on their tiptoes. All right? Who knew? Birds walk around on their tiptoes all the time. All right. And now we're at that last page about the killdeer. So let's go ahead. We're going to review some facts about the killdeer, and then we'll be done. All right, let's begin with number 1. Faces have a black stripe between their eyes and a white stripe across their forehead, behind each eye and around the neck. Boys and girls, that's a lot of words. Sometimes a lot of words confuses me, so I'm going to zoom in and say, look at his head. Those 2 black stripes that you see on his head, that's what they're talking about. Okay? Number 2, 2 black bands around their neck and breast. Those are those 2 black bands that almost look like someone took a black magic marker and drew those on. Number 3, the killdeer does not have a back toe. Doesn't have a back toe, so we won't see him perching on a branch or a thin sign, but we will see him perched on a flat rock where he can gain stability and spread out. Let's skip number 4 for a minute. On to number 5, males and females look alike. When we studied the waterfowl family, we discovered that male ducks are brightly colored and females have that modest plumage. In the case of the killdeer, both the male and the female have the same coloring. Remember, the top of the tail is that rusty color, so when the killdeer extends his wings and extends those tail feathers, we can see that beautiful rusty orange brownish color. His tail and his wing feathers are pointed. He is brown above and white below. So he's got those brown feathers above, that creamy body below, and remember when he extends the wings, that beautiful rust color. He has a red eye ring, very distinctive. We zoomed in on that. Beautiful red eye ring, very bright. And number 10, his bird call is, "Killdeer, killdeer." So my question for you, boys and girls, is how did the killdeer get its name? Well, he got his name, he actually named himself. He got his name based on the bird call that he makes. A lot of people think when he makes his bird call, he says, "Killdeer, killdeer." So we have to learn his bird call this year, so I will be showing you a video, and I think you're going to hear the very same thing. It's very interesting. So it's a bird that named itself. All right, and lastly, let's go down to number 4. Before I begin number 4, let me give a quick reminder about the nest. The killdeer doesn't technically build nests. He takes those long, sharp talons, he scratches in the ground, he lays his eggs, and then he might add some fluff, he might add some grass, he might put some sticks, some stones, some shells around it to do a little more camouflaging. But nonetheless, they don't have a ritual of gathering sticks and grass and feathers and building a nest. And secondly, he does a couple of things with regard to predators. The killdeer pretends that they have a broken wing to perhaps draw attention to the predator and take them away from their precocial chicks. And they also can stand on top of one another to appear taller. Once again, precocial chicks, they are born covered in downy feathers, eyes wide open, ready to take on the world. And then lastly, the killdeer, number 4, is highly adaptable to different habitats. He loves eating insects and as a result has a very positive impact on the environment. All right, so the killdeer, there's 2 important things I'd like to talk about. The killdeer is very adaptable, highly adaptable to different habitats. We read in the very beginning that the killdeer can put its nest in a parking lot, in a mowed lawn, maybe on a golf course, around the shore, somewhere around maybe swampy areas, that type of thing. So the killdeer is very flexible, maybe in a field. Whenever you are adaptable, whenever you're highly adaptable to different habitats, you're not going to suffer from habitat loss, which means you're not going to have to worry about becoming extinct because you lost your habitat. And remember, the 3 reasons we lose habitat would be industrial, buildings are being put up, agriculture, we're turning fields into farmlands, and housing, residential, which is the housing, we're building houses there. So this is not a bird that suffers from habitat loss. And lastly, he loves eating insects. And that has a very positive impact on the environment, and I'll tell you why. One of the insects that he loves to eat are mosquitoes. And if you've ever been bit by a mosquito, you know that any bird that loves eating mosquitoes is more than welcome in your backyard. It's a wonderful thing that he does. Because he eats so many insects, it really helps our environment quite a bit. And that's it, boys and girls. That is the killdeer. I hope you enjoyed learning about this very quirky, unusual, funny bird who decided to name itself. All right, boys and girls, you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in class.